Hello everyone, in this video I'll be ranking the best rapier weapons in Baldur's Gate 3 on a tier list. So we got some really great weapons here today. Some of the most unique weapons are actually rapiers, and they also look quite cool as well, as you can see there. But I'll be going over some of these, as the tooltips for some of the weapons aren't as honest as they should be. So I'll be covering all of that as well, and showing off what some of these weapons here look like. So yeah, we got ourselves a good one here today. The first one we're starting with is the Pact Bound rapier, which is literally just the Warlock's version of it. Now, I would say it's better in roleplay tier because this is going to use your charisma as its attack rolls, so that itself is nice. But another nice benefit is it's counted as magical damage, so it can overcome resistances to physical damage, making it a bit better of a choice, and I'm going to put that into the C tier. Obviously, there's plain old rapier with no benefits is just going into the roleplay tier. These all deal 1d8 of damage and piercing damage at that. But we're getting ourselves into some better ones here. So the rapier +1, I'm going to obviously put that above the pack-bound one. This has a +1 weapon enhancement. But now we're getting into some of the better ones. So here is the rupturing blade. So this one you can get relatively early on in the game. This is in the Zentarum hideout. And what this does is it's a +1 rapier, but you can use the Searing Blood attack, which is a unique one. So you can cut into an enemy, dealing extra proficiency bonus fire damage, so upwards of 4 extra fire damage, and then an additional 1d6 of fire damage. But you yourself take a 1d6 of slashing damage, and then also you can possibly burn or bleed the target. So with burn, they'll take an additional 1d4 of fire damage. With bleed, they'll take 2 slashing damage per turn. That's not a bad one, although being able to apply extra damage by hurting yourself kind of sucks. I still am going to put it in the B tier because it has a +1 weapon enhancement, so you got that extra damage option if you need to do like a Hail Mary earlier in the game and attack someone with extra damage die. That's a potential of upwards of extra 10 fire damage, which is nice, but at minimum it'd be like a 4 or a 3, I guess. But yeah, still not a bad weapon overall. But next we got ourselves the Sword of Screams. So this is Nir's sword. What's cool about this, it does a 1d8 of piercing damage, but it does an additional 1d4 of psychic. So 1d8 physical, piercing, 1d4 psychic. What's nice about psychic is we got ourselves here the Resonance Stone, which makes everyone vulnerable to psychic damage. So that 1d4 becomes like a 2d4 essentially, dealing a little bit extra damage. So that is a nice extra benefit of the Sword of Screams, as you get that going on as well. So I would say that the Sword of Screams is actually not a bad weapon. You get it from Nir in the Grimforge, so early in the game in Act 1 you can get this weapon, and it's a pretty solid one because both damage types can be applied as a vulnerability with both the bhaalist armor, as you can see my character wearing there, as well as with the Resonance Stone. We can get extra damage on both of those, so for that, I would say it's a very solid weapon overall. Being able to apply extra damage, get an extra damage die, always a nice thing. So I'm going to have to put that up into the A tier. Next, we got the Rapier +2. So this is just a 1d8 +2. Obviously, it's better than 1, so I'm going to put it in the B tier. I don't know if I would say it's better than the Rupturing Blade, because being able to apply all those extra damage riders is nice as a, if you need it, opposed to just the +2 enhancement, which is a great enhancement, but I'll say it's probably around the B tier there. But we're getting into some of the better ones here. So we got ourselves next the Harmonic Dueler. So this is a cool one. You'd make a DC 15 performance check, and I actually have this equipped right now. This is a pretty cool looking sword, so just looking into it, it's got some nice appearance there, and the handle guard is really nice as well. So one of the cool things about this is you can make this mellow harmonic. So make a performance check, success grants all your melee weapon attacks additional damage equal to charisma modifier. So you can go with a potential +7 to your attack. If you got a 24 charisma, it's +7. Now I only got a 13% chance of succeeding, and performance failed. We did not make it. So you're allowed to do that per short rest. So we'll try again and see if we can get that 30%. Performance failed. One last shot, we should be able to make it here. Performance failed. Mince did not like that. So yeah, you can sometimes get that to work. Actually, it looks like we got it there. We got Bless off, so cool. I don't know why we got Bless, but there it is. That is an interesting weapon. The Harmonic Dueler, you can get this in Act 3 from Entharl Danthalon in the Dancing Axe. So, yeah, that's not a bad weapon. It also looks really cool, too. So, bonus points for style. Since I wasn't able to get that, that kind of stinks. But I would say this is probably a tier as well. Being able to add a potential 7 damage is really nice because it takes your charisma modifier. If you're rolling with the Birthright Hat, as well as going with the Mirror of Loss to take your charisma up to 24, that can be really good and very powerful. So, yeah, I'm going to say it's A tier. Next, we got one of my favorites, the Infernal Rapier, which you get in Act 2 if you save Mizora from her in the Mind Flare colony. You have to set her free there. And then pass a difficulty challenge 14 persuasion check to ask for a reward. Now, what's nice about this weapon, I'll actually show this weapon off as well. This uses your spellcasting modifier for its attack rolls. So, melee caster, instead of dexterity, it adds the spellcasting modifier to attack roll. Weapon enhancement +2, +1 to spell save DC, so you're going to land your spells more often. But the biggest benefit to this weapon is the free planar ally Cambion spell. This just makes this weapon absolutely incredible. It looks cool too, so you got that like twisted handle there. Now, I don't find this to be a great one for if you're playing as a warlock, because you're going to have Pact of the Blade most likely. That will let you use your charisma modifier for attack rolls. So this would go really good on any type of like wizard, sorcerer that wants to have an increase their spell save DC and doesn't want to use a quarterstaff. So you get a little bit of an attack in with this, but the big benefit is being able to summon in the Cambion here, which I'll show you what that all looks like. So he has his normal attack, 1d10 +4, but he also has the Ray of Fire, which is, this is basically just Scorching Ray. 9 to 54 damage from a from a summon. That's incredible. It has the Draining Kiss as well, so 5d10 +5 psychic damage. That's really nice because we got ourselves the Resonance Stone, so that potential of 55 damage actually jumps its way up to 110 potential damage, which is actually really good. It also just has normal main attack. Fiendish Charm, you can charm a humanoid, prevent it from attacking you. That kind of sucks. I don't really use the Fiendish Charm ever, but it also has Rush Attack. So, yeah, you typically want to be using your Rays of Fire or the Draining Kiss between those two and being able to fly around to targets. This is a pretty good summon. I prefer the Diva if we're going for a planar ally, but a free level 6 summon is nice. And it has 82 health. You can upcast Aid to give it an additional 25 health, and then you can also use Hero's Feast to give it an additional 13 health. So you can get this well above 100 health, making it quite a tanky one. So, Cambion, not a bad summon. You get it free with this weapon, making this weapon a definite S tier. This is, I would say, personally, I get the most benefit out of the Infernal Rapier, and for you guys watching, you most likely will get the most benefit from this weapon. However, there is one weapon better than this, and I can't skip over it and talk less of it, so we'll get to that one in the final. Next, we got the Pelor Sun Blade, which you get this from Cazador. Does a 1d8 +1, so it only has a +1 enhancement, but it also deals 1d4 of psychic, or 1d4 of radiant damage on top of that, so that is really nice, but be mindful, in Act 3, there are some fights that will reflect your radiant damage back at you, so that does kind of suck. But it also has the Undead Bane, so, okay, this is the weapon that's lying. It says all attack rolls have advantage against undead. So you would think, if you equip this, you would get all your attack rolls against the undead. So bow attacks, that's not the case. It's only attacks with this weapon. So this is found in Cazador's dungeon, but it's only attacks with this weapon that gets advantage on the undead. Not a bad weapon overall. I would say it's probably top of the A tier. Now, if it was a +2, that'd make it a little bit better. But yeah, it's still not bad. Additional radiant. It could even be like a bottom of the S tier, because that radiant damage is nice, but Infernal Rapier, I feel like, is just good. And the Sword of Screams is also really great with psychic damage being added to it. So the Sword of Screams that you can get in Act 1 ends up being a little bit better, I would say, unless you're going with a Radiating Orb build. Now, it would make more sense if we got the Pelor Sun Blade earlier in the game, because there's so much Radiating Orb stuff in the early game, opposed to getting it so late in the game, but that's okay. But we're getting finally to the best weapon, I believe, in the game for rapiers. I do prefer the Infernal Rapier, and most people would probably prefer the Infernal Rapier, because this one does require a bit of setup. So I guess I'll show it off, because this is a cool looking weapon too. So we'll go ahead here. It is a legendary weapon, so that is one thing to keep in mind. So we lose our buddy, but look at that rapier. That's like a double-edged sword. It's got that necrotic energy flowing through it. It's got this big red stone. But yeah, so the Duelist Prerogative is the weapon. It does 1d8 plus 11 piercing, plus 2 piercing, plus 1d4 of necrotic. I guess I am using the these gloves here, Legacy of Masters, to get that extra damage, but 1d4 necrotic damage extra. It normally would do a 1d8 plus 3 plus 1d4. Really nice. Weapon enhancement plus 3. So main hand only. When your offhand is empty, you score a critical hit when rolling a 19. So 10% chance to hit a critical. And you gain an additional reaction per turn. This is only if you don't have anything in your offhand. So that's why I do rate this weapon. Or I do have some issues with this weapon, because you do have to be able to attack with it, like, without anything else in your offhand. Whereas the other ones, you can equip a shield and get yourself plus 3 armor class. But also, this has the Withering Cut. On hit with melee, use a reaction to deal additional necrotic damage equal to your proficiency bonus. So you can use up one of those extra reactions that you get to deal an additional 4 necrotic damage. Not amazing, but it also comes with the Challenge to Duel and Dueler's Enthusiasm. So the Challenge to Duel, this is basically compelled duel, but it also inflicts bleeding on the target. So you can use this against them and they'll get bleeding. Now, if you have a Tiger Heart Barbarian, or not Tiger Heart, a Wolverine aspect Barbarian, you can use that to be able to just like shut them down and give them 0 movement speed by maiming them. But yeah, this will also apply bleed, which is pretty cool. And we also get the, where is it here? What is it called? Dueler's Enthusiasm. Oh, I guess that's, yeah, bonus action attack. So that allows us to get a bonus action attack off, which is nice. Similar to the Belm. I personally prefer the Belm. You can only do this when not dual wielding, so this gives you just another main hand weapon, which is a nice addition, I would say. But the Belm also will give it extra bonus action attack, but it'll let you attack with your main hand damage. So I prefer the Belm most times, but this weapon is still really great. And if you're playing as a lore bard and taking counterspell, that's a really good combination, because this gives you 2 reactions, so you can counterspell twice, or you can use your cutting words twice. Like, really great if you're able to use your reaction. If you don't have a reaction, this is kind of poo-poo garbage in comparison to other weapons, because you have to give up your shield to get many of the benefits. But I would say that the Duelist Prerogative is also S tier. I would say it's probably better on a build customized to it than the Infernal Rapier, but I am going to put it below it, because I think for most people, the Infernal Rapier is going to be 1, easier to get. 2, it's going to be usable by any of your spellcasters. 3, it gives you that free Cambion. And 4, it gives a +1 bonus to spell save DC. So yeah, for most people, Infernal Rapier is probably the better choice, but I still want to rank these fairly. So they're both S tier, different builds, different effects, I guess. But yeah, there you have it. All of the best rapiers in Baldur's Gate 3 ranked on a tier list. If you found this video useful, please hit that subscribe button below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.